Hi everyone, my name is Rena and I'm a student at Shanghai American School. Over the past 28 days, I have been living in a small village called Xizhou in southwest China. During this time, I have been communicating with the locals here in the village and learning from them. One thing I was interested in and wanted to study was the tourism and development in Xizhou, so this became my inquiry project topic. I have heard that Xizhou has greatly changed over the past couple years, and so I was interested in learning about this. I decided to go around the village to ask local villagers what their opinion was on the change, and see if the overall development of Xizhou was positive or negative based on their thoughts. In order for one to investigate whether tourism has impacted Xizhou in a positive or negative way, one must consider its economy, lifestyle, and culture. So this video is about how I learned to communicate with the villagers here, about my experience, and what I learned about my inquiry project topic. The first aspect I need to consider is how the tourism industry has impacted Xizhou's economy. There's no doubt that with tourists come profit. The economy of Xizhou has boomed over the past 2 or 3 years as more and more tourists have begun to come. And a very good example to show this is my experience with Mr. Yang, who is the owner of the Golden Flower down at Sifangji. Mr. Young is a 55-year-old man and he just loves talking, which is why I enjoy talking to him because he's always cracking jokes and makes everybody smile. Mr. Young loves the fact that more and more tourists are coming to Xizhou, since this means that he gets more opportunities for customers to come to his restaurant, which means that he makes more money, which benefits himself and his family. The second aspect to consider is how the tourism industry impacted the lifestyle of Xizhou villagers. Ever since Xizhou became a more popular and touristed place, the village was given a big boost in modern development, making daily life easier. With the tourism industry, Xizhou would not have developed this quickly. For example, one day when I was walking down Sifangji with Mr. T, I met an 80-year-old Han woman called Grandma Yang. And Grandma Yang told me about how she really liked the development in Xizhou since it made her daily life so much easier. For example, she now has access to things that she never had before. She now has air conditioners, lights, and warm water by simply clicking a button. The third and final aspect I need to consider is how the tourism industry has impacted the culture of Xizhou. And from this question, I got 2 different answers from Mr. Zhang and Ye Ling. Mr. Zhang, who we all nickname Lao Mao, is an antique shop owner near Sifangji that I visit with my buddies once in a while since he is very open about his opinions, which makes him super helpful. And so when I talked to Mr. Zhang about the tourism industry, he told me how it benefited the culture in Xizhou since tourists who come here are able to spread the word all around the world to increase and liven the culture in Xizhou. And so Mr. Zhang believed that Xizhou does not need commercializing since the culture here itself is already strong enough and tourists are making it even stronger. However, when I talked to Ye Ling about the same topic, she told me how she was worried about how Xizhou might go down the same path as Lijiang. And Lijiang was once also a much quieter place, but once it was exposed to the tourism industry, it became overpopulated with tourists and lost a lot of its culture. Ye Ling also told me about how the tourism industry in Xizhou has already begun to tear down some of the buildings and rebuild them with newer and more modern buildings, sometimes even without policy. And so by making connections with the people in the community, I got to know my topic and my three aspects a lot better. From this research experience, I learned that with tourists come change, and this means change in all aspects and change everywhere. I can say that the current development of Shizhou is definitely individually beneficial, but in terms of the village as a whole and in the long term, we cannot be sure. From the microcampus journey, I have learned to communicate and make stronger connections with my peers, my teachers, and the local villagers in Shizhou. I have learned to always be aware, whether it is of myself, the others around me, or my surroundings. And lastly, I have learned that excellence is not an act, but rather a habit.